Amidst HYBE's silence, Jin reveals the truth about Suga and his struggles. Why does HYBE continue to remain silent, while Jin suddenly speaks up about Suga's painful struggles? This question immediately sparked public curiosity. How could a large company, known for its sophisticated communication strategies, remain silent when one of the BTS members made a surprising statement? Behind that silence, a dark side of Suga's career journey was revealed, one that was not widely known to the public. Jin's statement, which has recently been widely discussed, is not just an emotional outburst, but a piece of reality that has been hidden all this time. In a firm tone, he alluded to the unfair treatment of Suga, both in the context of promotion, work pressure, and the roles that were often assigned to him. The public was shocked. How could Suga, a figure known as a pillar of BTS's music, have to go through a difficult path full of obstacles? HYBE's silence raises even bigger questions. In the South Korean entertainment industry, companies usually respond quickly to rumors or controversial statements to maintain their image. But this time, the silence gives the impression that there is something they want to cover up. Is it true that Suga experienced injustice in his solo career? Or is HYBE waiting for the right time to issue a clarification? Jin, with his straightforward and sincere character, is a figure that is difficult to ignore. When he speaks, fans know that it is not just sensation. His statement touched on the pressure Suga has experienced since his debut, until the phase when he had to balance his image as an idol and his integrity as a musician. In every word, Jin seemed to want to open the public's eyes that Suga's struggle is not always seen on stage, but hidden behind the camera spotlight. Suga, who is known for his determination in music, has rarely revealed his weaknesses in front of the public. He always looks strong, calm, and focused on his work. However, Jin emphasized that behind that cold attitude, there is a heavy burden that he bears. Industry pressure, company demands, and fan expectations are a combination that often makes him have to hold back pain in silence. This fact makes many ARMYs feel emotional, even angry, because this struggle has never really been voiced. The public began to connect Jin's statement with a number of moments in Suga's career. One of them is how his solo project faced delays and minimal promotion compared to other works. There is also an issue regarding internal company policies that made Suga have to compromise with decisions that were not always in line with his artistic vision. All of that has now resurfaced, as if reinforcing the truth of what Jin revealed. However, what makes this issue even more complicated is HYBE's attitude, which seems to be choosing a silent path. There is no denial, no clarification, not even a brief statement to defuse the situation. For many people, the silence of a company as big as HYBE speaks louder than words. That silence triggers speculation. Is there indeed truth in Jin's words that is difficult to refute? Or is the company playing a communication strategy that is full of calculations? In the midst of this controversy, Suga remains calm. He does not make statements, nor does he add fuel to the fire of speculation. His silence actually reinforces the narrative that he has long been accustomed to bearing burdens without having to complain. ARMY is even more touched, seeing how their idol continues to try to be strong even though the reality is full of pressure. They assess that if Jin dares to speak up, it means there is something serious and should not be ignored. Jin's openness also has a broader impact on the public's perception of the Korean entertainment industry. So far, the image of the industry has often been polished with narratives of success, glamour, and happiness. In fact, behind it all there is tremendous pressure that artists have to face. Suga's case is a real example that even musicians with great talent can experience structural injustice that limits their creative freedom. Now, a big question hangs in the air. What is HYBE's next step? Will they remain silent and let the public interpret it themselves, or will they finally provide a transparent clarification? Every day that passes without an answer only adds to the speculation, even strengthening Jin's position as a whistleblower in this case. In the end, Jin's statement is not just about Suga alone, but also about how the industry treats its artists. HYBE's silence is a symbol of how fragile communication is between giant companies and a public that demands transparency. Meanwhile, Suga's struggle is now getting more attention, not only as a musician, but also as a human being who deserves to be treated fairly. Should the public accept HYBE's silence as a sign of recognition? Or are we witnessing a communication strategy that is full of calculations? What is clear is that JN has opened the door, and the public is now demanding answers. Jin's statement, which surprised the public about Suga's struggle, has triggered an endless wave of discussion. However, in the midst of the hustle and bustle of reactions, there is a far more important question to ask. Does everything we hear really reflect the facts? Or is it just a piece of narrative that is deliberately formed to lead public opinion? How can we be sure that this is not just a media strategy deliberately created to arouse sympathy, strengthen the idol's image, or even just create a viral sensation? Let's be honest, in the era of social media like today, information can spread so quickly without the public having time to verify its truth. TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, to entertainment news portals become channels that mix facts, opinions, and even engineering. This is where the big problem lies. Jin's statement did shake things up, but did it really come out with the exact same context as we received it? Or are there other parts that were deliberately cut, rearranged, and then presented as hot news? HYBE's silence, for some people, is considered a veiled confession. But is that really the case? What if that silence is actually a strategy, a kind of communication calculation to maintain the good name of the artist and the company at the same time? Isn't it strange that a large company chooses to wait for the right moment, or even deliberately lets rumors circulate because the effect can increase public attention to the artist in question? If so, are we as viewers being drawn into the circle of media games they created? The emotional reaction of ARMY is also an important reflection material. Why do most fans immediately believe Jin's words without questioning the source further? Is it because they believe that JN is an honest figure who would not speak without reason? Or is it because they really want to believe the narrative that Suga is a victim of injustice, so anything that supports that view will be immediately accepted without critical filters? Doesn't this show how easily public opinion is shaped by public figures who have emotional credibility? Meanwhile, there are also groups that are skeptical. They wonder, could Jin's statement just be part of a hidden promotion strategy? We know that the entertainment industry not only sells music, but also behind-the-scenes drama that can strengthen engagement with fans. Then what if this issue is just a narrative deliberately formed to arouse sympathy for Suga ahead of a certain project? If that's the case, are we witnessing reality, or just a cleverly designed stage drama? We should also reflect, why did information as important as this emerge and spread first through platforms such as TikTok, Twitter, or YouTube? Why not through an official statement or press conference from the parties involved? Doesn't this give a sign that the information still needs to be verified further? Shouldn't we refrain from immediately swallowing every news that circulates? Let's ask a more provocative question. If it turns out that all of this is just a hoax or engineering, what will happen to Jin's credibility? What is the impact on the image of Suga and HYBE? Won't the fans who have already believed feel betrayed? Or vice versa, if everything JN revealed is true, is HYBE ready to face the consequences of losing public trust? In a world flooded with information, skepticism is not a negative attitude, but a necessity. We need to question every piece of news. Who is spreading it? What is the motive? Where is the source?